Okay, so now that we've got our ammo working properly, now we're going to work on getting a timer going and also a score. So I see you already have this script in place here called timer, and it's just, there's nothing in there yet. It's just the standard JavaScript that comes up when you first create one. So we're going to add some code in here to go ahead and keep track of how much time has elapsed during the game. So I've already gone ahead and opened this up in MonoDevelop, so you'll just double click it to open it up. And we're going to go ahead and get rid of what's in there right now, and we're going to write our own code. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is declare some variables. So we're going to start with static variable. It's going to be called str time, which stands for string time. Okay, and then we're going to tell the program what type of variable we want it to be, and we want it to be a string. Now, string actually just means that it's going to be text of some sort, okay? So string just pretty much stands for any kind of text value, okay? So our next variable is going to be static variable, var, okay? Time count is what we're going to name it. And this variable is going to be a float. And a float is just a number that has a decimal point, okay? So has a decimal value. So we're going to make this float equal to 0.0. Even if it's 0, if it's a float, it needs to have that decimal in there somewhere. Okay, so next we're going to make another variable. It's just going to be var variable. Alright, int sec is what we're going to call it. It stands for integer seconds. And you can guess just by the name that this one is going to be an integer, so we'll put int, and we'll go ahead and set it equal to 0. Alright? And we'll do our next one. We're also going to make one for minutes, so it's going to be var for variable int min, standing for integer minutes. It is also going to be an integer, and we are also going to set it to 0 for now, okay? Next variable we're going to do is var variable, and it's going to be called str, which stands for string, sec for second, and then 0 fill, okay? And we're going to make that a string. And you may have noticed that I forgot some important things at the end of these variable statements here, and that would be my semicolons. So that code wouldn't have worked for me. So, just be careful that you're making sure you include punctuation, things like that, because they can be easy to overlook sometimes, alright? So our next variable is going to be var str for string, min for minutes, and then we're going to put 0 fill, and this one is also going to be a string. Alright, here's another little typo right here. String should be capitalized, otherwise it will not work. So just double check what you're typing. Alright. So we're going to go ahead and go to our update function now. We're kind of done with all those variables up there. So we're going to go ahead and put function fixed update. Alright, and we're going to go ahead and put our parentheses, open and close, and then an opening curly brace. We're going to start coding. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is put a value to our string second 0 fill. So we're going to say string second 0 fill. equals, and we're just going to put quotes, meaning that right now it doesn't really have any value. It's just kind of an empty blank space. Okay? And we're going to put something in there in a minute. So that's just kind of a placeholder. We're also going to do this for our minutes, all right? Our string minute 0 fill. It's also just going to be empty for now. All right. We're going to go ahead and say time count, our float variable, if you remember, time count plus equals time dot delta time. All right, and this is kind of a function that kind of comes built in with Unity, so I'm not really going to go into too much detail on that right now, but it is all kind of laid out here for you within Chapter 18, so if you want to read more about it, you can. You certainly are welcome to. So there's a lot going into this kind of timer code that we're setting up right now, and like I said, if you want to go into more detail on it, just check out Chapter 18, and it gets quite detailed explaining what each of these things means. Alright? So in our next line, we're going to go ahead and give our int seconds variable a value. Okay? It's going to be equal to math f, standing for math function, floor to int, open parentheses, time count, close parentheses, and it's going to be percentage 60, which really stands for finding the remainder, okay, after dividing by 60, whatever the remainder is. Just in case you were wondering, that's what that is about with the percentage symbol there. So next thing we're going to do is assign a value to our int minutes. So int minutes equals time count over 60. Alright? Okay, so now we're going to go into an if statement. It's going to be if int seconds, alright, are less than 10, open curly brace there, string second 0 fill, okay, that one, equals 0. Alright? And go ahead and close that if statement with a closing curly brace. We're going to do our next if statement. If int minutes, okay, is less than 10, open curly brace, string minute 0 fill equals 0. Okay, and go ahead and close that. And then we're going to go ahead and kind of write down everything that we want the timer to say. All right, so string time right here, str time equals string minute 0 fill, and what that does is just adds a leading 0 to the minute number if it is less than 10, okay, so that instead of just saying 9, it'll say 09, right? Plus the next thing in the list after that 0 is going to be int minutes, so the value that we have for how many minutes it's been, plus the word minute, or min actually, which stands for minutes, and we'll want to put a space just to space things out, put space on either side of those, plus string second 0 fill. That'll just put that leading 0 if we have less than 10 seconds on the clock. And then we're going to put int second, which is our second value. And then we're also going to put after our second value, number value, the word SEC, standing for seconds. Okay. And all of this put together is what our timer is going to say. It's going to say 0, whatever minute it is, and the word min, and then it's going to say 0, however many seconds it's been, and then SEC for second, okay? And then just because we have all these values assigned doesn't mean it's actually going to write on the screen at all. To do that, we have to do something called print to tell it needs to write on the screen so that we can see it while the game is running. So we're going to print, open parentheses, str time, okay, string time, this one that we just made right here, and make sure you close that off with a semicolon, and also close the function off with an ending curly brace, okay? So now it's going to be printing on the screen for us. So let's go ahead and save this once we're done. Save, and close, and let's go ahead and play our game. It doesn't like that. Okay, so this is my indication that I have been bad at typing. So we'll go in there and take a look and see, oh my goodness, what did I do? Alright, what did we do here? Okay, so we've got double checking, and you'll have to do this on your own as well too. You'll have to double check things and make sure that you've typed them in right, because even little small typos will cause the code not to run, just like this. So let's see, we've got static variable, string time, string, static variable, time count, float, equals 0.0, in seconds, int equals 0, int minutes, int equals 0, variable string second 0 fill, string, variable string minutes 0 fill, string, function, fixed update, okay, fixed update, string second 0 fill equals blank, string minute 0 fill equals blank, time count plus equals time dot delta time, good, int seconds equals, okay, so somewhere when I was trying to type math function, it looks like I wound up with math compiler instead. So that may be the problem right there. Let's go ahead and save that again. And press play. Now it's happy. Alright, so while we're playing the game here, we may not actually see the timer doing anything. So we actually have to have our timer placed, we have our timer script here, but we don't actually have it placed on any object in the game. So, it's there, it exists, but for it to really run, it has to be attached to something that's going on in this scene. So we're going to make an object to attach it to, called timer. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and go to game object, create other, and we're going to go ahead and go with Actually, we'll go with create empty. Create empty. And we'll just name this guy timer. So it's not really going to appear in our game because it's empty, and you know, it's just kind of a placeholder. But once we have that, we can drag our timer script up to this timer object, and now our timer script will be running during the game. So let's go ahead and hit play. And it'll actually show up way down here in the bottom. Okay, so that print function really is more of something to just kind of check that things are running correctly while we're testing. It doesn't actually show up in the game, but we can see just by looking at the bottom here that all our code works properly, and you know, everything looks fine with that. And you should probably at least wait for a minute and watch this and make sure that your minutes are also functioning, not just your seconds, okay? So we'll just kill some time here for a second. Watch that. Yay, hit one. I don't think I'm very good at this game. Okay, so you can see now a minute has elapsed and our seconds have started over, and we've got our minute going on there, and so, you know, everything looks normal and good with that. So we have our timer functioning, we just don't have it displaying on the screen anywhere. Before we display our timer, we're actually going to work on keeping score, alright? So I see you also have your current score JavaScript already created, but it's just blank for now, just empty. So let's go ahead and work on that next. All right. Current score. Gonna bring it up in MonoDevelop. Okay, and we're gonna just first things first. We'll actually, you know, we'll keep the update method in there this time. We're just gonna go ahead and come right into our update method. Okay. Function, excuse me, update function. And we're gonna add some code. All right. We're gonna start with our variables as usual, and tell the program what variables we're gonna be using. We're gonna start with static. Variable, var, variable, and we're going to name it int current score, okay, and that is going to be an integer. And our next variable is going to be variable. We're going to name it int target multiplier, okay, that's going to be an integer. And we are going to go ahead and set it already to 100. Next, we're going to do another variable. It's going to be named int ammo multiplier. Alright. It's an integer. Surprise, surprise. And we're going to set it to 1. And our next variable here is going to go ahead and be variable int seconds multiplier, and it's going to be a float, and we're going to just go ahead and set it to 0.1. Alright, it looks like I actually spoke a little too soon when I put that in the update function, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. And I'm actually going to put it right above the update function, okay? Just right there. Okay, so once we do get to our update function, we have a few more variables that we're going to declare, okay? We're going to start with a variable called int ammo fired, alright? And we're going to go ahead and say it's an integer. and we're going to set it to 200 minus ammo remaining dot int ammo remaining. Okay. Next, we're gonna go ahead and declare a variable called int targets hit. Okay, and these are all things that we've kind of kept track of with our ammo display as well as our target display. So we already kind of have a lot of these elements in our game. Okay, and we're gonna say it's an integer, and it equals 12 minus targets remaining dot int targets remaining. Okay. And next we're going to make another variable. It's going to be called int et, which is standing for elapsed time in this case. We're going to make it an integer. And it is equal to math function dot floor to int, go ahead and open parentheses, timer dot time count. Okay. All right. So we're gonna go with we're based on all these things that we've just declared as variables. That's how we're going to calculate our score. Okay, we're going to use all these things to calculate our score. So we're going to go ahead and take our score variable that we created earlier, and it's going to be int current score. We're going to set it as equal to, and we're going to need parentheses for this one, int targets hit, right, times, there we go, int target multiplier. Okay, so this is saying, you know, however many targets we have hit times 100. Okay, which we have right here in target multiplier 100. And go ahead and close off those parentheses. Minus, and we're going to go with int ammo fired. Alright, and times int ammo multiplier. Right, so that's saying that first number minus however many rounds of ammo we fired times 1 right now, which is, you know, not very exciting, but there it is. And the reason that we're doing this with these multipliers is because it's really easy to adjust how our scoring works should we add more levels to the game. So, you know, on a different level, I might make the multiplier, you know, 5, and you're penalized a whole lot more for using up your ammo. So instead of having to kind of recode this whole thing, we'll be able to, on different levels, just change these multipliers to affect the score. Okay? So anyways, back to what we were doing. We're still working on this, and then we're also going to go minus, and some more parentheses here, int et, which stands for elapsed time, times int seconds multiplier. Alright, and go ahead and make sure you put a semicolon at the end of this. So basically this is saying our score is equal to the targets that we've hit, the points we got from the targets we've hit, minus the points that we lost for firing ammo, minus the points that we lost for how long it's taking us. Okay? So next thing we're going to do is, because we can't really see if this is working or not yet, we're gonna print it so we can take a look at it and verify that it is working before we start throwing it onto things and making our code crazy. So we're gonna put print and just quotation marks there for an empty space, plus int current score. Alright, we're going to print it just like we did with the time, okay? So let's go ahead and save that. Now, we still have our time printing right now, so we'll want to go ahead and make sure that we are no longer printing that so that we can see our score instead. Okay, so we'll go in there and fix that. So let's not print our time anymore. And you might notice that down here at the bottom I have some red going on. It's saying, hey, that current score stuff you just worked on, right here it's mentioning it, current score.js, semicolon expected, insert a semicolon at the end. So it is likely that somewhere in my current score script I have forgotten a semicolon. So after looking over it a little bit and double checking it, it turns out that a semicolon is not the problem, but the problem is right here, where it says variable int ammo multiplier. I have accidentally placed a space there, so instead of reading this as a name, it was reading this as variable integer and then a name, and it was a little confused by that, so I was just another one of those little tiny typos that will cause you grief, so just be sure that you're double checking everything, especially when you get a compiler error like that. So let's go ahead and hit save, and we'll try that again. Alright, so it's compiling now, so there are no more errors in there. So let's go ahead and print that to the screen. Now, we went ahead and got rid of our little print line in timer. Just make sure that you also save that, okay? And we also don't really have our scorekeeping code actually attached to anything right now, alright? So let's go ahead and place it on an object so that we can actually see that printing, alright? So I'm going to go ahead and create an object for that. Actually, we already have Scorcard, so let's just go ahead and use Scorcard, alright? We've got this Scorcard object up here. I'm going to take current score, JavaScript, and drag it onto Scorcard. Just like that. We'll go ahead and play our game, and we'll check down here to see if our score is functioning correctly. Okay, so just keep watching that bottom corner there. And so as I'm firing these bullets, I should be losing points, which I am, so that's a good sign. And hopefully if I can hit one of these guys eventually. There we go. Alright, so I went ahead and hit one, and you can see my score got way more awesome, just like that. So that's pretty much what we're looking for. It's just based on how much time we've been playing. As you can see, as I sit here for a while and don't do anything, my score will start to go down a little bit based on elapsed time, alright? So all three of those scoring functions that we put in there, the added points for hitting targets, the subtracted points for wasting ammo, and the subtracted points for time going by, are all functioning properly. So we're happy with that. That's good. We don't really need to print that anymore now that we know that it's working. Okay, so we can go ahead and get rid of this print line and just go ahead and save it. It's all working well. Now, the last thing to do now that we have our code and we know that it's all working is to actually display it on the screen. So we're going to work on that next. So we've got our scorecard here, and we're also going to go ahead and have our scorecard script as well and work on that. All right. Before we get really into working on the scorecard script here, the current score script that we have, we attached it to our scorecard GUI object right here, but we don't actually want that to be on the scorecard in the long run. We want our scorecard script to be on the scorecard. So we're going to remove that current score script from our scorecard. That was just kind of to test it out and make sure it was working okay, and it is. So go ahead and select your scorecard in the hierarchy window here, and you'll see down at the bottom here current score, which is the script that we attached. We can actually just come over here to this little gear at the far right and just click on remove component from this drop down list. Alright, and now our current score script is no longer attached to scorecard, so that we can instead attach our scorecard script that we're going to make to that scorecard. Alright, so let's get started on our scorecard script. Now, you may notice that this text here is kind of far over. It's kind of bleeding into the ammo here, so you might want to move that over just a little bit, but I'll leave that up to you. So let's go ahead and get to work on this script here. We'll open it up. Okay, so right now it's blank. So we're going to come to our update function here, and we're going to start off declaring some variables as usual. So we're going to start with variable stret, that should look pretty familiar, an elapsed time variable, and it's going to be a string, and we are going to set it equal to timer dot str time. So basically what that means is it's going to look in our timer code that we built, our timer JavaScript, and it's going to find whatever the value of this string time is, and that's going to be the value of this variable in our scorecard. Okay. So let's go on to the next one, variable. This is going to be str score, string score. Alright. And it's going to be a string. Surprise, surprise. And we're going to set that equal to first quotation marks, okay? Then plus current score. So it's looking in our current score code that we built, dot int current score. It's going to find int current score and assign it to this new variable in this new scorecard script we have, okay? Next line is going to be GUI text dot text equals score plus str score plus, you can get a little creative with the spacing here. Just make sure there's a space before you put ET, so that there will be space between the score and this ET placeholder. Plus str ET. Okay, and that's it for that one. So we'll go ahead and save that. So basically, all that's really saying is I have this variable called string elapsed time, and go fetch that from our timer script, and I have this variable called string score, and go fetch that from our current score script, and then go ahead and transfer all of those pieces of information to my little GUI text, meaning my my heads-up display right here. Okay. So also a note here is that I have forgotten to capitalize string twice. So obviously that's pretty important, because my code will not run at all unless I make sure I capitalize things that need to be capitalized. Alright, so we just go ahead and fix that real quick and hit save. Now basically what this is going to do is go grab the time from our timer script, and also grab the score from our current score script. Unfortunately, for that to work, both of those scripts need to be attached to some object in the game, and we have our timer attached to this timer object, right? And we did, for a little while, attach this current score object to our scorecard object over here, but we took it off, right? So what's going to happen is this scorecard script is going to be able to find the time, but it's not going to be able to find the score until this current score script is attached to an object that's in our scene. Alright, so let's make an object for it real quick, and go ahead and attach it to the object. So we'll come up here to game object, and we'll just create empty, and we'll just name it current score. Okay. Oops. Looks like I have a couple of them going on here, so we'll go ahead and delete one of these guys. Alright, so once we have that current score object, we can grab our current score script and drag it, place it on that object. So now let's go ahead and try our game out. Let's hit play. And it looks like our GUI text is actually a little bit big, because we can't quite see the end here, but I think we get kind of the idea. So we can start shooting, and we can see our score is adjusting as we're shooting. We are losing points, and you can just see it clearly displayed down there. And when I hit a target, I'm gaining points, and also as time is elapsing, I am losing points, and it's all being kept track of right down there at the bottom of the screen, as well as our ammo display and our target display. So at this point we have all kinds of displays going on our screen. So that really wraps up everything that's necessary for assignment 8. At this point, you would want to move on to chapter 19 and assignment 9. And let me know if you have any questions about any of these things, and I'd be happy to help. Other than that, happy coding!